We'll call the regular city council meeting to order. It is Wednesday, September 9th at about 5:30 PM. Everybody is present tonight except for Rick, and we will go ahead and get started. Agenda item 1A is approval of the August 26th council meeting minutes. Those are in your packets. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by John and second by Tim. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 1B is approval of the September claims for payment. We'll start to my right with Tim. John?
None, thanks.
Jen?
No questions.
Rob?
No questions.
Do we have a motion? Moved by Tim. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 1C is open business from the community. Seeing none, we will move on. There's not a mayor's report, but we'll start with staff reports. Mike?
ACO will be here sometime this month to put in the new sand filters for the pool. While they're here, we've been losing a lot of water out of the baby pool, so they're going to camera the drain lines and find out where the leak is there. We're working on renewing the fire contracts for both Union County and West Sioux Combined Fire Districts, which encompasses a couple of different townships in Sioux County. Both entities pay into the city for fire protection. Continuing to work with DGR Engineering and Moore Engineering out of North Dakota on getting the right bank of our levee certified. We hope to hear from them soon. And then letters have gone out from the city, followed by a letter from the Iowa Department of Natural Resources in reference to the new flood mapping for Hawarden. If you have received those letters, you will be affected by the new flood maps, and we ask that you pay particular attention to the one from the DNR, as they have information on there on who to talk to, an upcoming Zoom meeting, followed by a possible in-person meeting.
Okay. Travis?
We've picked dates for the citywide cleanup for the fall, and they are going to be October 16th, 17th, and 18th, and that'll run from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I'd like to mention that, not all cities do a cleanup like we do. I believe it's a great public service for the community. I truly believe it alleviates garbage and junk in our ditches and around our community. The tree pile and the grass clipping, leaf pile, is another example of a community service that's very beneficial to our residents. But there continues to be a few people who make this difficult for us by leaving trash, glass, or metal in the tree pile. If this continues, we may need to add a camera and start prosecuting those who are caught dumping trash in the tree pile. The last thing we want to do is have to put a lock on the gate and take away these amenities to the residents. Also, work has started along 7th Street in Frog Pond. Between the Sioux County Conservation and the city, we'll be clearing the trees, adding dirt, and eventually a walking path along there. The path will be raised up to help with flooding of the dry creek. We've had some close calls in the past years with high water rising up and getting close to going over 7th Street. So being able to basically make a berm and then have a walking trail on it will be twofold. We'll be able to add to our trail and then help alleviate some of the flood worries we have down there. This project could get drawn out over a couple of years depending on the availability of fill dirt, because we're going to need to raise it about 3 feet. So as we get fill dirt and start working on it, it could be a process, but we'll get there.
Okay, Corey?
One quick thing, we've been receiving complaints since school started about the intersection of 11th Street and H. It'd be just north of where the library is. When the kids are leaving school and going to school, they're using that special crossing that we had put on Highway 10. As they walk to the north or to the south on that side, we have a lot of traffic that goes east to west. That intersection's not protected. And with the school buses and the way everything's dismissing, we kind of looked at it and talked to Travis, talked to Mike, and we think putting up a stop sign there on that east to west traffic would be beneficial. The north-south traffic already has the big dips that you have to slow down through anyway. If you watch any of the kids leaving and stuff, it's definitely a hazard, and I think a stop sign would be the best solution for that. So I think we're going to get some stop signs put up there. Other than that, business as usual.
Okay. Jim?
No, I don't have anything.
Larry?
Just a couple of things. Our 2020 USDA revolving loan report has been submitted back to them. Our census count, we're at about 72.4%. We have exceeded what we did in 2010, and it continues to inch up a little bit each week. We actually moved up 6 spots from ranking 176th from 182nd out of the 928 communities on those who have reported in, self-reported. In addition to that, our first set of banners have been ordered, and they should be shipping to us in the next week or two. So,
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Move on to 2C, council comments. Anything from council? No? Okay. Agenda item 3 is the third reading of ordinance 724, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Hawarden by amending provisions pertaining to the standard penalty. Mike?
What this does is through Iowa codification, it's a state law that was passed that they recommend we put in our code book. This particular penalty raises the fine amounts.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Tim. Do we have a second?
A second.
Seconded by Jen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, sorry. It's a roll call vote. Jacob?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 4 is a third reading of ordinance 725, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances for the City of Hawarden by amending provisions pertaining to tobacco use. Mike?
This will raise the state already passed it, but this will have our code books mirroring that. Basically, the age to possess or use tobacco, vape products is 21.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Rob and a second by Tim. Roll call vote, please.
Aye.
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 Agenda item 5 is a third reading, ordinance 726, which is amending provisions pertaining to animal control. Mike, anything on that?
Yeah, this just adds some more language into our animal control ordinance in a couple of provisions. One is tampering with rabies vaccination tags, and the other is tampering with electronic handling devices such as e-collars or bar collars.
Okay. Do we have a motion for that one?
So moved.
Moved by Jen. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Rob. Roll call vote, please.
Aye.
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 Agenda item number 6 is continued discussion on possible local option sales tax sharing agreement with HRH. Would anybody like to start that discussion?
I think after the meeting, I feel pretty confident about trying to move forward to an agreement between the two entities to see if we can both benefit from
Yep.
this local option. So I would like to move forward.
Yeah, I think there's an agreement that we'd want to move forward in, whether it's a one-step or a two-step, getting back to that amount. I think 50% was thrown out at one time, which isn't unreasonable at this time.
Yeah, that's still where I'm at, is 50%. And I don't care how we get there, but I would rather get there sooner rather than later. So,
Yeah, I'd like to see a percentage too, not just a certain dollar amount.
Yep.
So as it grows, we continue to grow too on that side.
Sounds like we're in agreement then.
okay. So 50%. The only other thing I would say is I'm not interested in any type of stipulation as to where we are using those funds. I mean, any lawful purpose is fine with me, but I'm not going to strap for the councils for how they use it in the future, and then we have to get back to this point. So, Anything else on that?
I'll pass that along. Part of the reason it's on the agenda was one of the hospital board members asked what we were looking for, and I don't think we ever talked about a specific. And so I had told them that we would discuss it at this meeting, and I would get back to them with what council is looking for. So I will pass that on. I believe they want to have another planning session meeting after the next council meeting. They want to move it up from November.
Okay. Agenda item 7 is a presentation of the Hawarden Water Source Protection Plan, a recommendation on an ordinance change. Mike?
I've included the Hawarden Water Source Protection Plan in your packets. Bridget Durst was here a little over a year ago, and this was a grant-funded position for her to come up with a plan where we can protect our water wells and our drinking water. We worked through that up until about February, and then COVID hit, and so she finished up the plan. Her grant ran out. I don't believe that they renewed her position, but the plan got finished. There are some things in there that we have to, that typographical things and things like that, that we'll have to fix. But I wanted to present it to the council, have you guys go through it. Possibly next meeting, we'll look at adopting it. And then it's just a guideline of what we can do to protect our well fields and things like that. The one thing that I do believe that we need to do right away is look at an ordinance prohibiting private wells or sand points. Those are one of your bigger infiltrations of pollution into your water drinking system. And it's part of that plan, but I would propose bringing an ordinance back at the next meeting with that. There's several communities that already have that, and we just don't have anything in our system at this point.
Has anybody requested those?
Sand points?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a few people talk about them. I mean, we've really been trying to discourage them. I mean, so we feel that may be something that we want to do, because they go into the same aquifer our drinking water comes out of.
Do you know how many are in town, the existing ones?
Not for sure.
This might
You
be
know.
one where you want to waive your readings,
Yeah.
that or declare like we did. I think we did that one other time where either we waived them or we just put a moratorium on it while we considered it. It's a little dry, you don't want people thinking they need to put wells.
When it does get dry like that, and of course, you know, our sewer rates have gone up, and it's based off of our water if you don't have the second meter. So, you know, people are looking at other alternatives for water in their lawn and things like that. So we just, yeah, we want to protect what we have in our drinking water. And so we'll work with Jim on putting an ordinance together for the next meeting.
Okay. Agenda item number 8 is a consent agenda request from Brian Engelman from Sportsman's for a liquor license transfer, and everything is in for that. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Jen. Do we have a second? Second by John. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The last thing on our agenda is adjournment. Our next council meeting is on September 3rd. Do we have a motion for that? 23rd, excuse me.
So moved.
Moved by Rob. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.